coming into this gentle practice, lying on our backs. And you can come into Shavasana for a moment. You can bring the soles of your feet together or put something under your knees. But take a moment to surrender to Gaia. Gaia is the goddess name for Mother Earth. Just take a moment wherever you are in the busyness of your life to just lie down in your mother's arms. To feel a body just letting go of its resistance to gravity. And perhaps to notice how hard that is. How a mind wants to still be up and doing things. How a mind thinks this is a waste of time. Without changing anything, just notice body. Notice places where you feel tension or discomfort, but also places where there is ease and spaciousness. And without changing anything, notice breath. Just notice breath happening exactly the way breath is happening. Notice how noticing breath makes you maybe want to change it. Just notice. And then notice brain doing what a brain does. Let's invite this mind to just be aware of breath and body. Let's convince our mind that it's really cool in here. There's a lot to observe. And when our mind wanders to the day and the things out there, let's invite it back to this wonderland, this playground, this fascinating place called your body. Bring your feet close together now. And if you do have any props under you, go ahead and move those props. We're going to pay a little bit more attention to the back of our body today. We kind of forget that back half exists sometimes. So this first exercise we're going to do is a posterior chain awareness exercise. What I'd like you to do is keep your palms up and press your heels into the earth. Just press your heels down and notice the muscles of your feet contracting. You might notice calves, hamstrings, glutes, maybe even up into your back, tensing, contracting as you press. And then relax that. Feel all those muscles again, just softening and surrendering. Bend the knees just the tiniest bit. So maybe your knees are 4 inches off the floor, your toes turned up. Press your heels into the ground again. And now this time, let your hips just barely lift off the earth. So again, feeling the feet, the legs, the hamstrings, the glutes engaged, strong. And then release, straighten your legs, shake them out a little bit, let your body relax again. And then one more time, we're going to just press the heels into the ground. The knees are very slightly bent, not too much. Lift your hips and lift your torso a little bit higher. Now you should start to feel the muscles in your back working. And then release that down. Shake things out. Roll over onto your front side. And we're going to do something very similar. If it's comfortable for you, rest your forehead down and then let your arms come down to your sides. All right, so we did posterior chain, back body, when we were lying on our backs. Now we're going to do it lying forward. So I'd like you to just lift your head until you can feel the muscles in the back of your neck, but not your upper back, just your neck. So you might need to pull your chin forward a little bit, maybe up and down, and just see if you can feel the muscles in your neck holding your head. And then keep that. Lift just enough to feel your shoulder blades pull onto your back. Your hands are going to come right under your shoulders. So it's at the tiniest cobra you've ever done. Not feeling it in your low back yet, just neck and upper back. And then slide your hands back, come up a tiny bit more until you feel strength in your lower back, not pain, strength. And then if you can lift your feet without hurting your low back, without feeling that one spot, but the whole back body engaged, lift your feet. There's the back of your body, hamstrings, calves, feet, glutes. Release and slowly bring yourself into child's pose. And that should feel pretty good after engaging and working the muscles in the back of the body. So as we take a few deep breaths here in child's pose, notice again body, breath, and brain. Shift both of your hands to one side, place one on top of the other, and then let's pull our hips back away from our hands. Breathe into the side of the rib cage. Expanding those intercostal muscles, the muscles between the ribs. Switching sides, one hand on top of the other. Extending breath outward, sideways. And then returning to center. Bring yourself around for a moment to a seat. I always like to put my hips up on a cushion or a block, just something a little bit higher than the ground. We're going to do a similar exercise here, seated. So first thing I want you to do is just lift your chin and lower your chin. And we're moving slowly so that we're more aware of the contraction of the muscles, the strength required to do this movement. So paying attention today to the other side of the yoga coin, flexibility and strength, both equally important. Mobility and stability. So when you find a place where there's pain, that's your signal to stop. Even when you find extreme stretch, that's your signal to stop. Go ahead and come to neutral. We're going to wrap our shoulder blades onto our back. So it's going to feel just like you're sticking out your chest, elbows come back, and then elbows come forward. So just a small movement of strength in the back, strength in the front. Move with your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. And then friends, just start to make that movement bigger. You can make your arms longer, reach way out in front, reach way open. Like wings of a bird, move with your breath. And next time the arms are open, pause to feel the strength between your shoulder blades. And with that strength, notice the spaciousness of your chest, your heart. So where one muscle group is strong, it creates the opposite action of opening. Let's make snow angels. Thumbs reach toward each other, pinkies reach toward the earth. A little bit different, right, than when we turn our palms up and down. Try to keep your palms facing forward and notice those shoulder blades winging open and hugging down and in. And the back body is strong. The front body is open and soft. And like Brene Brown says, strong back, soft front, wild heart. Let's go one more time overhead. And reach the hands behind. You can either reach towards like you've got a beach ball. You can grab a strap or you can interlace your fingers. Take a moment here to expand across your collarbones. Send breath to the front while the back is in strength. The back of our body represents the past. And it tends to be a place we avoid. We don't like looking back. It tends to be a place of sometimes regret or resentment, guilt, fear, but also good memories and maybe sad memories, right? We don't like looking back so much. So working the back of the body tends to bring up some emotions, especially like this when we're open through the heart. Can we just be aware and observe what's here now? Let's release the hands very gently to the legs. Palms turn up. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale with a sigh. One more deep breath in. Exhale with a sigh. Good. Let's bring ourselves around into a tabletop. And we're going to do a cow and cat sequence that's a little bit different. So we'll start with regular inhale to cow. And I want you to feel now the back of the body strong. And then exhale to cat. It's like you're doing an ab crunch, right? You're in the weight room doing crunches. So inhale, strengthen the back, open the front. Exhale, strengthen the front, open the back. Now, inhale cow, and we're going to stay right here for an exhale. It's going to feel weird. And then we're going to inhale to cat. So think of opening your upper back with your breath. Exhale to cow, squeeze your back. Inhale, open your back, shoulder blades broad, tailbone tucked. Exhale, switch. Probably feels weird because we always do it the other way, but direct attention behind you, open and close. We'll do it one more time, friends. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Walk your hands forward, come to a kneeling plank. Option to stay right here and feel the strength of your back, or if you'd like to help us celebrate a birthday today, Andrea's 43 tomorrow, we're going to do some yogi push-ups. So I'm just going to take sets of 10 today. You are welcome to leave these out and hang out in plank or child's pose. We have to celebrate birthdays, right? And triceps are on the back of the body. When you have hit your 10 push-ups, your reward is child's pose with a long exhale. Maybe shift your hips over your heels. Give yourself a sigh. And let's bring ourselves into downward facing dog. Take a moment to shift and wiggle and pedal. Do all the things that your body likes to do in this pose. And can you feel the back of your body? So in this case, it's mostly lengthening, stretching. Come up onto your toes, drop into your heels and feel that stretch across Achilles tendons. Lower legs. Bend your knees and straighten and feel that stretch coming up into calves and hamstrings. Shift forward into a little bit of a plank pose and then back to dog. Feel the stretch around your glutes as your hip flexors contract, glutes stretch. And then let's slowly walk our feet toward our hands, coming down into forward fold. Feet are hip distance apart. Let's take ragdoll here and find the back of the body, the upper back of the body. Direct breath into your low back. Direct breath into your middle back, bottom ribs, back ribs. Oh, direct breath into your shoulder blades, the back of your shoulders. Sigh out loud. Good. Let's bring hands to shins and pay attention now as you lift slowly halfway. You're doing a little back bend. You're engaging the muscles in the back of your body. As we exhale, forward fold. It's kind of like cat, stretching. So let's do a few of those with breath. Inhale to feel the strength. Exhale to feel the stretch. Let's go one more time. And then pressing onto our thighs. Let's put a nice deep bend in our knees. Same thing. We're going to take a little back bend here. And then a cat. Inhale to strengthen. And of course, we're avoiding any sharp pain. So maybe this movement is a lot smaller to avoid that pain. We're really just looking at strength and stretch. And then rise up. Let's find mountain pose. Wiggle around a little bit. Find your footprints, friends. That took a while to get onto our feet. How do you feel? Let's check in. You can close your eyes if you like. Feel body. And are you a little more aware of what's behind you? Those muscles in the back. Notice breath without changing anything. Just notice, is breath more shallow or choppy, or is it deep now? Is it slower? And notice brain. What's the thinking mind doing here? So we're going to do similar exercises standing. So let's start with our neck and head. Lift the chin and lower the chin. We'll start with these muscles in the cervical spine. Notice the strength that creates an opposite stretch. And then standing in mountain, reach the arms behind. Feel the back of the shoulders and reach forward to feel the front of the shoulders. Let your arms be kind of like little pendulums and notice the back and the front. Let your brain stay busy watching what's happening in here in this amazing place that moves so beautifully, even when things aren't 100% working, right? There's always a little workaround the snafus. So this movement gets bigger now. We're going to take the arms out like a wide wingspan, and you might want your feet a little bit wider. We're going to stretch back as far as we can now, feeling the shoulder blades together, and then you're wrapping the arms around you like a hug. We'll just alternate which arm comes on top. Opening to find that spaciousness in front, but aware of the work, the strength it takes to create that spaciousness. In order to have one body part open, we need something else to be stable. One more time, open and close. Beautiful. Let your hands come to your glutes and press down on your glutes. Let's play with standing back bend that's now moving lower. So on the inhale, we're leaning back. We're avoiding sharp pain, so finding your edge. And on the exhale, back to neutral. Inhale, find your standing back bend. Exhale, neutral. One more time. If this is creating any pain for you, you're going to make the movement smaller and stay here. If you have a green light, reach your arms high, interlace your fingers, and add the length of your arms. So inhale, standing back bend. Exhale, neutral. Move with your breath. Exploring that whole posterior chain, shoulders, neck, upper back, lower back, glutes, hamstrings, calves, and feet. Freaking amazing. One more time. And then turning toes out to a little bit of an angle. We're going to make huge circles with our arms. So feeling it all. Shoulder blades, spine, hinge from the hips to let the arms continue in these big circles around us. 2 big circles. See how big of a range of motion you can make around yourself. How far back do your arms go without any pain? How much opening and space can you find in your body? How big can you make your breath now? So one more time, friends, really, really nice. And coming toward the top of the mat, let's breathe in, arms reach up, really now aware of all of those muscles. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Now they stretch. Inhale, come into your back bend, strength. Exhale, downward facing dog, stretch. Inhale, plank pose, drop your knees, and either stay here, come to child's, or join me in 10 yogi push-ups. Back of the body stays strong. If you are doing push-ups or holding plank, let's come into cobra. Let's feel that posterior chain once again. Feet on or off the mat. Find your strength. And return to child's pose. Long exhale. Notice body, breath, brain. Tucking the toes, lifting to downward facing dog, feeling the back line of the body lengthening. Long exhale. Nod your head yes. Feel the muscles in the back and front of the neck. Press a little deeper with another exhale. And then let's come forward. Hands to shins. Here's your little back bend. And then that back bend supports us as we rise up. Extended mountain. Find another standing back bend. And gently bring hands to heart. Pause. Notice now, after a little bit of work, body, how's your breath? What's happening with the mind? Let's reach again and bow. So another opposite action, let's pick up our left leg. And we're just going to feel glutes right here. So just take a couple of lift and lower. Feel the strength it takes to lift that leg. And know that when you're doing this, you're stretching your hip flexor. Okay. Back body. And then let's step that toe to the ground and we'll go ahead and lower our knee down to the earth. So we're always really aware of this stretch in the front of the hip, but what's happening back here as that glute has to engage? Put your hand on your butt. This will be fun. Put your hand on your butt and squeeze your glute. See if you can squeeze your glute in an effort to find a little bit more hip flexor length. Moving up gently into the low back by pressing on the thigh. Feel length and strength. Nice. Bring your arms behind you. Feel upper back. Shoulder blades. Hands reach or interlace. Strong back. Soft, spacious front. And release slowly. Let's tuck our back toes and move into twist. So left hand on the floor or a block. Right arm makes circles. Nice slow circles. What do you feel in the back of your body as you twist? Do you feel your left glutes engaged to hold you here? You feel your upper back muscles as that arm reaches its high point. One more big circle. And return to the ground. Pick up that back leg. Lift a few more times. Awareness. And we're going to see about our balance today. So one hand at a time comes to shin, maybe wall or chair. One hand at a time comes to thigh. Warrior 3 with arms anywhere you like. Back of the body strong. And slowly coming to mountain pose. And without any fidgeting, pause. Close your eyes and notice. Notice front body, back body, right side, left side. Notice any asymmetry, unevenness, and a desire to get to the other side. But just notice. Notice this eagerness, maybe even anticipation or anxiousness to find balance. Balance is a moving target. We never actually find balance. And our body is asymmetrical. So just notice what it feels like. And then because I am a little OCD, we will do the other side. Can't leave you there. Let's reach the arms high, find a strong back body. And release to the earth. Come up to your flat back, fingertips on the floor, right leg lifts, and we find the right glute. So your mind knows what's coming, and it might get bored and wander, right? So bring it back here. There is so much to witness here. These actions, this inner world. Let's go ahead and drop the toes and lower the knee. Finding kneeling lunge, and you might just be aware of engaging that right glute causes the right hip flexor to find a little more space. If you have lower back pain, it might feel better to stay here, but if your low back says yes, go ahead and come up and start to find that strength and length of your lower back. Beautiful. Bringing the arms behind you. Grab a beach ball or your hands and open. Strong back, soft, spacious front. So much room for breath here. And let's release. Fingertips down, tuck the back toes. Left arm begins as circle. Aware, back of the body. So we always have this inner resource. Anytime our mind starts spinning out on external things, and we don't want it to, we have so much to observe and witness right here, just under the surface. We can start with breath and then move through the body. Let's lower our hand, come back to that 3-point balance, lift back leg. Lift up into your own strength now. Let the back of your body be strong as your hands find their way into some version of Warrior 3. Let the back of your body be strong. Okay, it's wobbly on this side. That's because it's a full moon. I'm going to blame it on that. Let's rise back to stand. Pause. Close your eyes and feel what's happening here and now. What's happening with body, with breath, with brain. And see, we evened out the poses, but maybe we still don't feel quite even. Maybe there's still that energy, that curiosity or anxiousness. Balance is a moving target. Take a deep breath in, reach the arms high, and sigh loud as you bow. Inhale, press halfway. Step back, downward facing dog. Shifting to knees, 10 yogi push-ups, or hold, or take child's pose. Back of the body strong. When you get to 10, you can come down, take a cobra or up dog. We'll meet in tabletop. We're going to thread the needle. So now we're going to stretch the back of the body. Right arm lifts up, scooping it through and settling on the right side of our head and the back of our right shoulder. So now enjoying the space and ease opening in the back of the body, created by strength in the front. Just let yourself be here and notice what that's like. Returning to tabletop to switch sides. Finding neutral, then left arm lifts and scoops. Let yourself just kind of sigh out all of that breath as we invite our mind to observe what's happening here. And what sensations do you find here in your body? How is breath in this shape? And as we come back to center, before we completely get down into relaxation, we have 13 more yogi push-ups. And for those of you that have things going on with your hands, you know what's really helpful is an air chaturanga. So just practicing to going from arms from here to here and practicing that 90-degree bend, really helpful to teach our shoulders and our triceps how to do that shape. That's exactly what we want to look like when our body is on the floor. All right, so when you get to 13, you get to come into child's pose one last time. And say, happy birthday, Andrea. So let's come down onto our bellies. We've warmed up and worked up to these poses. So we're just going to go through a posterior chain exercise again. First of all, baby cobra. Nice, easy cobra. There's just strength and evenly distributed work from neck down to the heels. Sliding our hands forward, we come up a little farther into Sphinx. And this allows us to kind of drag the rib cage forward. So there's a little more stretch in the front body with Sphinx pose. You might want to stay there. Next option, locust, arms at our sides, lifting with palms down, finding that whole posterior chain, feet up or down, your choice. You can even interlace in locust and see how that feels. Breathing here. And one final invitation is bow. Bending the knees and effortlessly reaching to both ankles. If you're not quite there, just reach in that direction. Try not to make it a big struggle, a big deal. And then we'll just release all of that. Create a pillow for one of your cheeks and wiggle out your hips. Long exhale. Let's gently rise up just enough to shift our weight around into a seat. Nice, everybody. So good. Fingertips pointing toward the body. So this is Dandasana. Pull your toes back. So we strengthen the shins in order to stretch the calves. We're going to press into our hands and find strength in the upper back. The chin lifts slightly, the shoulder blades hug together. Point your toes. Now we're starting to find posterior chain one more time. So press your heels into the ground, lift your hips. If this hurts your hands, you're just going to stay right where we were. Come up into incline plank. Whole back body working. And then release. And yes, the reward. Forward fold. Oh, goodness gracious. Whole back body stretching. Toes back. Maybe walk your hips back. Surrender here. Everything we've been working now, softer, a more spacious back body. Releasing, we're going to roll down onto our back and hug our knees into our chest. Give yourself a nice little squeeze here, movement if you like. Stretching, lengthening the back of the body. Let's hug our head up towards our knees. Wrap the arms as much as you can, opening between the shoulder blades. Really feel that crunch of your belly and hip flexors to make this happen. Releasing feet to the floor, coming up into bridge. And if you like, grab a prop and let's do supported bridge. You're also welcome to just lift your hips on their own effort. Space in the front. You're welcome to extend one or both legs, get a little more length across those hip flexors that are so overworked. Breathe to let your belly lift and lower, to let your rib cage expand and contract. I'd like you to start to think about the most relaxing way you can place your body on the earth. So just start to think about which props, which coverings you'd like to collect. I'm going to do a nice long Shavasana today, a 10-minute Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is just a tour through the body, intentionally inviting the mind to be aware of what's here. So when you're ready, begin that process of finding support for your body. It could be under your knees, could be a pillow. You could cover yourself with a blanket. Maybe you have an eye pillow handy. You might want to dim the lights. We're going into deep rest for a body that has been working so hard for you and deserves a little moment of rest and gratitude. So once you find your comfortable position, make sure you feel supported by all the surfaces that are underneath you. Are there any more spaces that can be taken up by a prop? Is there anything that feels unsupported or kind of left unattended to? Gently close your eyes as you find a place that feels just right. During Yoga Nidra, I will guide you to just notice and feel physical sensations and breath, emotions and thoughts. In Yoga Nidra, you get to experience yourself as the witness to all of these comings and goings. Whatever you experience is perfect, just as it is. During this Nidra, welcome every experience as a messenger inviting you to explore, nothing to fix or change. As you welcome whatever is arising, your body and your mind are learning to be at ease, discovering the place within you that is always at ease and peaceful, experiencing yourself and your well-being, your presence, your body settling completely into stillness. Let's bring our attention to our senses. Notice a taste in your mouth. Notice any sounds around you. Smells. Images or colors behind your eyelids. The touch of air on your skin. Your senses open and alive. Perhaps you have an intention or a heartfelt desire for your time here. Picture in your mind a place that feels very safe and inviting to you. Could be a place in nature, a room, piece of furniture. And as you find yourself in this place, feel your body being comfortable and relaxed here. Now let my voice guide you and support you as we take a tour through your body. As I name each area, just feel any sensations present. Notice moment by moment this experience. Bring attention to sensations inside the mouth, roof of the mouth, inside cheeks, left and right, the tongue and teeth, your entire mouth a field of sensation. The ears, left ear, right ear, sensing both ears at the same time. breath through the nose. Notice left nostril, right nostril, both nostrils at the same time. The eyes, left eye, right eye, both eyes, a field of radiant sensation. Sensing forehead, the crown of your head, the back of your head, and neck, inside the throat. Left shoulder, left upper arm, forearm, wrist, left palm and fingers, the entire left arm, right shoulder, right upper arm, forearm, wrist, right palm and fingers, the entire right arm, both arms, one field of sensation. Upper chest, upper back, middle chest, middle back, abdomen and lower back, the entire torso, a field of sensation. Left hip, thigh, knee, lower leg, foot, and toes, the entire left leg. Right hip, thigh, knee, lower leg, foot and toes, the entire right leg, both legs. Sensing the entire front of the body, the back of the body, left side, right side, the entire body, inside and out, a field of radiant sensation. Bringing awareness to breath, moving through this field of sensation. Oxygen and new life coming in. Carbon dioxide and old life leaving. A predictable dance and exchange. Let this breath introduce very gentle movement of extremities, fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, elbows and knees, shoulders and hips, stretch your body in some way that feels just right, that maybe invites a yawn or a sigh. And as you feel ready, gently roll to one side and start to find your way back to a seated position. And from this seat, let's invite hands to join in front of our heart in a gesture of immense gratitude for feet that allow us to walk and dance and run and stand, for legs that allow us movement, for internal organs that work tirelessly moment by moment to process breath and toxins and food, for arms that hug and embrace and create and destroy and fix and put together, for a brain that is the command center of all of it, and for the witness that observes it all. Gratitude. Thank you all so much for taking time to honor this beautiful and perfect body, breath, and mind today. Namaste. Hi, my friend. Thanks for taking time for yourself today. If you ever want to practice with me live over Zoom, jump over to my website, denisestruce.as.me, grab a class. They're all free or by donation, or just continue enjoying these videos here.